Hello guys, right, I thought I'd just share this with you. So I put INAV, I put a flight controller into the airplane. I've put INAV on there, and as you can see the on-screen display is all over the place. Now I'm tail heavy, and the reason why I know I'm tail heavy is because the thing always wants to lurch upwards and it's out of control. Nose heavy, it's a lot easier to control. Just a little tip for anybody that decides, can't quite work out. Yeah, tail heavy bad, nose heavy not too bad. So yeah, so I've put that in, and as you can see, it's not very good. So I've just basically just wanted to land it. I basically wanted to land it because I don't want to fly it around like that. And we're going to go on to the next bit now, where I've just made a bit of a difference. Not improved it thoroughly, but it's better. Okay guys, so we've gone to the next bit of footage now. Now, I don't know if you'll notice straight away by looking at the sky that the camera's changed. So yeah, I've taken off the Runcam Owl 2 Plus, whatever you want to call it, and I've put on a Runcam Eagle 2. So I'm hoping that the picture is going to be a bit nicer. And what I did was, rather than being lazy, on my minim OSD, I can just run the signal lead from the camera and the signal lead back out to the VTX through the minim OSD, and I don't have any issues with it. And so I did this on the on-screen display on this one, and they didn't like it, as you can see. I still do have some interference, but that's something I'm going to have to deal with another way, because my signal lines unfortunately have to run down the fuselage of the plane where the power lines are. So I've got to do something about that. But you can see from the on-screen display, look, if we just look at the top, see what we got there. Oh, okay. So we got a D hop of 1.1, which is pretty good for the SAT. Oh, yeah. Now, really, we should replay that back, but you might have been able to see from there, the angle I was on when I first threw that, I was actually tilted quite a lot to the left. So that was stupid. That was stupid. You see that bit of black I've got on the nose? Now, what I did notice was, one, yeah, I prefer that black to be there. One, because the white is not so good for my eyes. I know I've got it all big white everywhere else on the on-screen display characters, but I prefer that black there. And I also notice as well, while it's kicking there brilliant white on my screen, it's using up more of my battery than it being darker. So to preserve my screen a little bit more, I like it to be black there as well on the nose of the airplane. So yeah, now you might notice in this video as well that when I go this direction or slightly more to the right, I go a lot slower with the same amount of throttle. If you look down bottom right hand side, you'll see 46% throttle. Now if you look now, I'm doing 29 kilometers an hour, 27, as I'm turning a bit more to the right there. So I'm sort of heading into the wind, but the same sort of throttle. I may have just knocked it one there from 46 to 47. Well, as you see when it comes back round again, but it's definitely going into the wind. So as we were there, sort of 29, 27. I just want it to turn around now. I don't know when it's going to do it. But I think it drops down all the way down like there. It went down to 20 for a second, didn't it? But the throttle now, I've actually put the throttle up higher, and I'm still only on 22 going into the wind. So we're going to turn around now. Now the throttle's going to stay the same, but you see how that speed picks up. I've actually dropped the throttle down because we're going into the wind. I've got the Runcam 2 on there. That's where the HD footage has come from, and that's just sat on the wing, as you probably notice. Once or twice I notice that I do go above the 100 meters, but I do certainly bring it down again as soon as I notice, and keep it below there. And in this I do sort of play around with altitude hold, cruise control, which gives you heading hold combined with altitude hold. We've played around with loiter. We're going to give return to home a few goes. Now you see, look, we're on 40% throttle now, bottom right, and we're doing 53 kilometers an hour, even though it's reducing now because I'm banking back into the wind. But keep that throttle down, that's same, and you watch how much we get reduction on speed. So that is not really doing it a great deal now, is it? It seems to be more over that side that the wind gusts across a little bit more. But only using 40% throttle. So as I come into that area that the wind's blowing across, which is the main area that I fly at this space, we are losing. Now in this cruise, as you see now, top left hand side, bottom one, CRS cruise. So now it's altitude hold and heading hold combined gives us cruise. But you see how it's swaying from right now, and then it will go to left and right to left. That's because it's not got enough throttle. It's not enough throttle, it's being pushed off course a bit, and now it's having to pull itself back onto course, and it's going to get pushed off course a bit, and then try and pull itself back onto course. And that's what's going on there. So really what I need is more throttle when I put it into the cruise control to actually push through the wind. I think they said it was going to be 19 kilometres an hour gusts today, so now we've got a bit of altitude hold now. Oh, back into horizon. Well, we did have altitude hold for a second. Back into horizon. See, we're bang on and look, we're going up. We're up to 107 metres, but as I noticed, I started bringing it back down again. And that was the cruise control, because even though it was trying to keep altitude, it was still trying to go forward, but it was still lifting the plane. It was still gaining altitude, which it shouldn't have been doing. So something else to keep in mind, I suppose. Flying about. It will be so nice. Tomorrow is going to be a calmer day, so that'd be nice. But as you can see now, I've pretty much got rid of the flicker in the on-screen display. That's pretty much gone. And what I've got to try and do now is get rid of that underlying awfulness. You see it on the screen, it's doing what it's doing. There's a quick test to return to home. En route home. Why? I wonder why they've actually say it like that when at the top it just says RTH. You'd think it'd be return to launch, to be honest with you, but yes, the return to home should keep us going. Now when it gets above me, or to pretty much where it was that I flicked the return to home button, we should then go into loiter at home, loiter around home mode automatically. So rather than it try to land, I've just asked mine to loiter, and my return to home as well is also set to whatever altitude I'm at the time, because it's not, you know, I'm not sort of like going anywhere that I know I might be losing my signal because someone's going to get in front of me, so I need to raise it above that. It is basically just whatever height I'm at for testing, so I can watch it with my own eyes as well, what's going on. And then when I get round to it, I'll probably put it up to like 90 metres or something to return to home, and then let it climb as it goes. I mean, I'm not quite sure how it'll work if it hits return to home, but it's got to climb. Let's say if it's got to climb from 50 to 90, it's got to climb 40 metres. Does it carry on going away from you while it climbs and then turns, or does it turn around straight away and starts climbing on the way to you, back to you? I don't know what's going to happen, so that'll be something I'll have to test, check out. So back into acro mode. Manual is quite weird, because I was obviously just using the servos, moving the surfaces with my receiver before, because there was no flight controller in there. And to me, in some ways I prefer that. To have the return to home function, I've got to put all this stuff in, but just to fly it around me, within that sort of kilometre, because you'll see in a minute, I go out about a kilometre, and you'll see that, that before, when I've been out a kilometre, even with the, just the receiver, this is quite weird, it's going through my head, sorry, I'm trying to talk to you, but I've got this thing going through my head as well, I want to say. So yeah, when I've gone out the kilometre today, it actually warned me about low RSSI at a kilometre. But before, when I've gone out there with just the receiver, and it's going to sound strange, but it didn't warn me. And I have I think it was 45 in the flight controller, 45 RSI to start warning me, but on the receiver with my separate profile for the Bix with just the receiver and not the INAV setup, I've told it not to have, to warn me when it's at 50%, because I prefer to be really pre-warned than just be have it sneak up on me. So 50% RSSI, and whenever I went out the same sort of distance before, it didn't even warn me, but today it warned me. Don't know if I'm reading in the RSSI differently. Straight from the receiver, I suppose I would have been reading it differently, wouldn't I? It being coming straight in from the receiver. But I suppose because that's another thing that I can do with this is I've noticed, because I'm using channel 16 on this X8R receiver for my RSSI, I think I might just drop an analog lead directly onto the receiver, the RSSI pin on the flight controller, and bring it straight out of its dedicated RSSI port on the side of the receiver to do that, which would free up another channel for me. Because I've actually got this one set up, so I've got all the channels that I need digitally in INAV, and I've also got 3 separate channels on the pins of the receiver, so I can have a camera switcher and a pan and tilt, because I've already built a pan and tilt system. It's only one of them cheapos you can get, but I've got a halfway decent henge 260 degree servo for the pan. So when I've set up my controller and everything to go there, I'm going to go 140% on my radio. On that I should be able to get 260 degrees of pan, which would be quite nice with the HD camera on it. I'm going to put the Runcam 2 on it, same as what's on this now. And yeah. So yeah, this is just having a little go in it, getting used to INAV, see what it's like in here, just flying around in front of me. I don't want to send it off too far. It's nice to have a little bit of wind, knocking it about a bit. So here we are, we're in position hold again now. This is me, I've put it into loiter. If you look at the top left, you'll see where it says hold. And the reason why it's going left to right again is because, again, while it's coming into the wind, it's getting knocked about a bit by it, and so it's having to readjust its course. So there it's been knocked around, now it's been readjusted its course, because it wants to go into the full circle round, which you'll see it do in a minute. And now, here we go. There we go, look how the speed goes up, 71, 75. We got up to about 76 kilometres an hour, and of course it's just in hold in acro. Well, it's in acro now, but it was in hold. So what we got on this on-screen display, so yeah, so top left we got our D-hop, and the D-hop is, I suppose you could call it like the link connection for the satellite receiver. Just below that we got the amount of satellites we got. Now the satellite receiver I'm using on this is a little tiny thing. Again, it's a U-Blox MM8, but it's the one I've got on the back of my quad is twice the size, and it calls itself the micro. So I don't know what this is supposed to be, the nano version. But this one's probably less than an inch square. Not an inch square because it hasn't got the depth of an inch. You know, it's but you know what I mean. An inch up and an inch across. But it's pretty good. Even inside here, I can get 15 satellites very quickly. You know, like within a minute from cold. That's pretty good. Maybe 9 or 10 from in a minute in cold, but a couple of minutes later, I've got 15 satellites. That's inside. That's pretty good. So at the very top, in the middle, those 2 numbers there, they're giving me estimated wind. Horizontal wind is on the left, and then the vertical wind is on the right. So the wind pushing me up and down is 1.2 kilometres an hour, and the wind I'm facing into, or I'm getting pushed along with, I'm not quite sure how to read that one, is at the moment 75 kilometres an hour. I presume that's the combined wind of me moving forward and the wind coming at me. And then we got over on the right hand side, top right, we got our distance to home, which is 430 metres, and then we've got our total distance that we've been flying. I believe that's supposed to be, which suggests we've been flying for 12 minutes, and it's only gone. That can't be 800. Oh, that's 8 point. All right, that's. I was going to say we can't have only flown 870 meters, could we? But that's 8.7 kilometers. 8.8 kilometers. Right, gotcha. That makes more sense. Below that, we've got our height, of course, our altitude. Below that, just for the time being, even though I don't think it's going to make any difference on this, I was trying to keep an eye on my pitch and roll. But as you can see, pitch and roll go all over the place. A lot of the time, if I put it in horizon on that, I always let go of the sticks. I want to see what it's going to do. I do realise if I put it back into manual mode, I get this pull down to the right hand side. I've got to do something mechanically, I think, with the surfaces there, because I don't want to do a servo trim or an automatic servo trim while I know mechanically I can adjust that servo setting and just hopefully get that to level out a little bit better before I allow the flight controller to do a servo trim setting on it. I've already got those things all programmed into a switch, and I've also got it's like an auto tune, but I can't remember what they call it. It's not really an auto tune, but which will help just tune in the actual flight controller with the way I fly this thing. So then, yeah, below the pitch and roll, which I will get rid of, we've then got our throttle position, 50% at the moment, and then we've got our time flying below that. Bottom middle, the two there is one, you can see the current that's being used, which is 6.2 amps, and then we can see the amount of power I've actually used, which is 1.3 amps, going on to 1.4 in a couple of few seconds. And then, of course, on the bottom left, all we got there is the voltage of the battery, 15.1 volts still, and our RSSI. Oh, I missed the heading. So, top right, underneath the total distance, we also have our heading in degrees. I thought I'd have just for now, this is the way this is going to look. I've actually, I don't know if I'm going to leave the servo settings there, but I know that I can leave a switch. So I can have a switch free, and I can have 3 different on-screen displays. So I think I'm going to have one with a whole bunch of information, including my my GPS coordinates. And then I'll have another one which is a little bit slimmer, and then one which is hardly got anything. It would probably just have RSSI voltage, possibly throttle position and timer. Yeah, satellites and timer, just in case satellites go down. In actual fact, I won't even bother with the satellites because I've got them all. I can have them all on my radio and just set up alarms on every bit of telemetry that comes in anyway. I can set up all sorts of alarms for it, which is quite good. So yeah, this is well, it's not the first day. This is the 3rd day actually. No, it's not. Yes, it is. It's the 3rd day out of the Bixler with INAV in it, because I did the first day, and it was absolutely terrible with the what do you call it? Oh right, see here. Now this is getting out about 1 kilometre out. That's right. Yeah. Now I had an alarm go off on the RSSI. So back round here, it should go down to 45 because it did. It did whine at me a little bit. Oh, surprise, surprise. And as well, I need to mention this because, in case I was wondering, I'm using a little Luminaire. It's a little tiny stubby antenna. It's literally just the antenna here. You put it onto the video transmitter, and I've only got it on 200 milliwatts. Okay, I've not checked to see if I get the best output on this. If I get the best output on this VTX on the frequency I'm on, I've put it to the same frequency as what I get on my TBS. I get the best output on 5705, and so I've just put it to that to save me having to keep re-scanning in on my monitor whenever I fly from the different video transmitters. Normally I get a better signal out there. That's because I put the VAS ion on, and I am yet to do another test, because when I come in after this, that's it. I just call it a day, because I just thought, right, okay, I'm happy with that. I'm a little bit peed off what I can still see on the screen from that interference, but I can think of ways to try and get around that. May have to go to screen the cables or something. I know that where I've got my video transmitter and the camera is probably not the best place anyway for this little setup, and I should have them out on the wings, but I'm just going to have to just play around with it just like this for the minute. So yeah, so now I'm going to try and come in for landing. I have to take several attempts at this, just because the way the wind is. I need to try and, what I need to be able to do is come in exactly the opposite way now. I need to be coming from over there in front of me to where I am, to help me land a bit better, but I'm having to come in this crosswind a bit and do it like this, to be honest with you. But I need to lose a bit of altitude and drop down on a bit of speed as well. But I'm trying to maintain speed because I don't want to tip stall, so I've got to keep a little bit of push on the go. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult for me. But it's still nice to fly. It's going to take a bit of getting used to with the INAV in it, and it is a completely different thing to flying the quadcopter. That was flaps. I don't know if you noticed, I went a little bit bellied up. I put the flaps down. That's because I'm not putting in. I've taken the flaps off now. I'm powering out. That's because I'm not putting any elevator, just to counter it, so I can do a bit of pitch down when the flaps come on. The flaps come on slowly as well, in order to help prevent that sort of little lift up in the air that you get when your flaps go down. So coming a bit lower this time. See if I can. Trying to do it without crashing. It's just because now I've got to go across everything. Flaps down, you'll see it as I put flaps down. Probably might put them down a bit later here. Actually, there we go, flaps down, because that was that rise. And now I'm trying to pitch down. I might have to do this again. Am I going to get it down? Oh, it looks like I am. Yeah, excellent. There you go, guys.